We are going to get started. So I wanted to, I know it's everybody on here tonight, but those of you that are going to be watching might not know Stephanie and Adrienne, but they're going to talk tonight about enthusiasm and really about being enthusiastic is what draws people to you and wants people to come with you. Adrienne and Stephanie are both going to talk about the customer side. Adrienne was the first on our team to go fast track gold, which she signed 20 people in 30 days, like 30 days on the dot. So huge accomplishment. And Stephanie has been absolutely blowing up PV. Like she has been averaging between, Stephanie, correct me if I'm wrong, is it 3 to 10 customers per month? Possibly?
Yeah, 3 to 10 new preferred customers over $50. Yeah.
That's awesome. So she has had a huge jump. So I'm going to let them take it away and kind of pour into us tonight with what their tips are and to share with us what they do on a daily basis. So go ahead, ladies.
Thanks, Nicole.
Awesome. Thanks, Nicole. So my name is Adrienne Joslin. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a gold ambassador here with Plexus. And we have had an amazing July. And so I am just super proud and pumped up to be a part of this amazing company and to be a part of this amazing team. So every day is a joy and every day is a blessing. So that enough too is just really sets me on fire. You know, I feel like part of my journey is that people who don't know, I was diagnosed with hypo a few years back. And so, you know, getting on Plexus has really basically saved my life. And when I first started with Plexus, you know, everyone's brought into the Plexus family maybe differently, depending on their sponsor. I was born into Plexus on the triplex. And so that's really how I share my excitement about Plexus and about the products is that I just share what I know, what I've done. I take almost nearly all the products now, but you know, everyone, all my excitement comes from, you know, the triplex. I think it's just an amazing combo. And so when I reach out to people and tell them my story, tell them my why, that's what I want to encourage them to start on. So that's probably the reasons why I have brought in so many of my friends as ambassadors is that's why I sell them. That's what I encourage them to start on. And so then it just steamrolls from there. So that's really kind of what I've just been doing in reeling in my ambassador friends. And so one of the other things that I just kind of want to talk about and touch base too is that I just never give up. I never, ever give up. And earlier today, I had posted a motivational video about never giving up and just really striving for your goals. No matter like how hard the situation is, no matter how many no's you get, no matter how many excuses you get, you know, you just got to keep going. You got to keep, you know, pressing. You got to keep showing people that, you know, this is the way. You know, a lot of people will come back with excuses, and, you know, it's just one of those things where, you know, everyone, you know, has a financial, an issue or a health issue, or there's always something that will come into their way. And so, you know, one of the things I always want to encourage everyone to know that health is first. If you are not okay, people around you are not going to be okay. You have to make yourself a priority at some point in time. Every day we make thousands and thousands of decisions, right? So, you know, we choose to get healthy or we choose not to get healthy. It's a decision. We choose the way that we want to live our lives every single day. It's a choice. We choose who our friends are, what, you know, our jobs. We make thousands of decisions every single day. So, you know, my goal is to help guide people in making the right decision, especially when it comes to their health, because as a walking testimony, you know, I can sit here and say that this stuff works. and I'm going to share about it all day, every day. I feel like we have a higher power in this world. We're all here for a purpose, and we've all joined Plexus for a reason. Our journeys are not all the same, but I feel like our end goal is the same, right? We all want to get healthy. We all want to feel better. That's just kind of what I strive for on a daily basis. One of the things that in the message earlier today in the video is, if you do what is easy, your life will be hard. And if we do what is hard, your life will be easy. And how true is that, right? So if we always take the easy road, it's going to be hard. It really is. At the end of the day, it's going to be hard. But if we decide to, push through those difficulties and, push through those no's, and we push through those hard times, it's going to be easy. It's going to get easier. One of the other things is that we need to really train our minds. We got to do what motivates us. And I can sit here and say that what motivates me is my family. It just does. And I think most of us here can attest to that. Just the other day, and this hasn't gone public yet, but just the other day, my son and I were sitting chatting over dinner, and he had told me that, because he takes Plexus as well. He takes everything that I take, which is the Triplex, Phytobiome, X Factor, Mega X, all that stuff. And that he had told me that before he started Plexus, he was feeling depressed, and that he had anxiety really bad, which I was kind of new, but didn't take it to the next step yet. But now that since he's been on Plexus, his anxiety is pretty much zilch, and his depression is, he's not really depressed anymore. And I just cried, because that changed everything for me. Not that I am a diehard Plexus fan through and through, but when my son is telling me that because of Plexus, his world is changing too, and that just screams volumes. That means that you are here for a bigger purpose, a bigger reason. And that is exciting to me, that not only am I striving to change lives of other people, but knowing that I am changing the life of my son. And just him telling me that and confiding in me about that was like a miracle. And to me, I have filled my purpose, right? Even as a mom and as a person, and I have filled my purpose in this world already, making sure that my son's okay. And because of Plexus, he's out of a dark, out of a dark hole that I didn't even really was aware of, to be honest with you. So that was just absolutely incredible to have that conversation with them. And I'm going to keep pushing. I'm going to keep moving. I'm going to take life on, and I am not going to stop. You guys know that movie, Pursuit of Happiness, right? We all know that. And Chris was trying to sell one of his medical kits, right? And he knew that it was going to make a difference in life. He knew that he was going to change people's lives, and he went on every single day. He went homeless. He did everything that he could. He never took no for an answer, and he kept going, and he kept going, and he took his son along with him. And, that right there is what we need to do as well. We all need to take every single day and just keep pushing and keep moving forward. We have goals. We have dreams. We know what Plexus is about. We know that we can change people's lives. We've read testimonies. We've heard testimonials. We are walking testimonials. Everyone needs to know about this. And if it takes, going through those 20 no's and going through sending multiple samples to people and sitting down and having that conversation with them over the phone, in person, whatever. They need to know that this is for them, because I mean, this stuff rocks everyone's world. It really does. We just have to really push ourselves. We have to set our minds. We have to get our minds right. And, we are going to all have our days where, we feel like we can't do it anymore. We're tired of feeling like, we are bugging people or whatever, but, they need us in their ears. They need us to educate them. Those are the people who need it the most, right? I mean, that's kind of how I feel. Little someone by the name of Nicole was in my ear for a little while, and I knew she was speaking to me, and I kind of turned my head a few times, and it just took one more speak, and that changed everything for me. So, you just have to keep going, and listen to that motivation video if you haven't already, because it will pump you up. Let me tell you, I listened to it like 5 times today, because I just lit my fire a little bit more. So, you just have to make the decision that today you are going to reach out to people. Today is the day that you need to decide that, 1, that you are going to be healthy, and 2, you're going to help someone else be healthy. My family is, I've lost a lot of people in my family because of anxiety. It runs, and so I have made the decision that the buck stops here, and I'm not going to allow that to happen. If I can try to help someone else out of that dark hole that I have, 1, been in, and 2, have seen go through my family and friends even, that's fire enough for me. When I know that there's something out there that can help and make them better, that is all the motivation I need. So, I mean, that's really, all you just need to do, just go out there and light their fire just the way that your fire's been lit. I feel like we're all here for a reason. So we just have to keep plugging away.
I love that so much.
Does anybody have any?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to say, like,
No, go ahead.
On these products, like, I mean, just listening to you, I'm like, sold. Like, I want to feel how you feel. I want to do what you're doing. And I think that for you, I think the biggest thing, the message that you're giving to everybody else is that, I mean, even though you're trying to light the fires for everyone else, even though you might have days where their fires aren't lit, yours is still lit and it's shining brighter than ever, which I think is super important, because you can't let those put yours out. So, and I think that you reflect that, to its entirety. So I love everything that you said. But I'll let everybody else open up for questions.
Yeah.
Hey, Adrienne. Hey. I have a quick question for you. So do you send like kind of a generic or a canned message, basically? Is there a standard message you send like via email or Facebook private message to drum up like the whole business side of it,
Here's the thing, is that I've actually just started promoting a little bit more of this business side, because I was listening to one of the Jules videos not that long ago, and she had talked about that a lot of the Jules will typically start off promoting the business first before the products. And so I never really thought about doing that, or why, because for me, it's never really been about the business side, even though I love the business side, but to me, it's been about the products and how I feel and how it makes me feel. So that's what I've always promoted. So I haven't really fully engaged in the business side or promoted the business side. So I'm just starting out. But whenever I sign up ambassadors, then at that point is when I talk to them about the business plan and the compensation and all of that. So I feel like I probably need to turn it around. Does that kind of answer
Yeah, and I'm glad you clarified, because I was under the assumption that you went Fast Start Gold and exploded just talking the business side. I didn't realize you were talking more of the product and, hey, buying at cost, like that approach. I didn't realize that. So good to know.
Yeah. Yeah. So people have been sold on the products first versus the business side, but maybe the business side too will, help, gain that momentum as well. I have to try it.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's really important. I think a lot of us on this call, we're all product driven, majority. I think there's a handful of people that were drawn in by the business, but I think we are accidental, unexpected business finders, I think. And I think that's awesome, because like for you, Adrienne, building a team, all 20 people can end up being your runners, your business builders, because they don't know what they don't know. And so I think building their belief in the products and having them join you because of how you feel and how you know that they can feel, and then adding your point into letting them know about the opportunity at that time is really good. If you guys need a really good video to reference, after I post this call, it's Amy Paul talks about the opportunity, and it's fantastic, like leading with the opportunity, because I know that's a little bit, because we are also product driven, I know that's a little bit maybe uncomfortable or in the unknown, of how to do that or exactly what to say. So I'll post that video. It's a really helpful one.
But so Adrienne, just so I'm on the same page with you, but your customers have been using the product like anywhere between a few weeks and a few months at most, right? Because you've been on board for just a month or so. I guess that's what I was confused about, is they've only been using the product a very short time, but they've caught the vision, right? Am I with you on that?
So I have been committed to Plexus and started sharing as of June 28th. So all of my ambassadors at this point are all July ambassadors, all of them.
Right.
So
but
all
they're
of my
new product users, right? They had not been using.
Right. They're all new product users. Yes. Yep. So, but the pricing, the wholesale pricing has definitely been, key. And so everyone wants to make sure that they're getting the best price. And I always kind of feel like, and this was me too, is that, once everyone starts on the products and people notice the difference, they're going to want to know, how can they get that, right? So, you've got that great, you got that pink drink, where can I get that? So for me, it's like, I want to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to be able to share what they're doing. If someone says, hey, where can I get that pink drink? Then, the ambassador can go, well, here's my website, here you go. Like, that's just I want to set them up at the top for success. So that's just kind of been my mindset and my goal for all of my ambassadors. It's just to set them up at the top, and they can go from there. If they choose not to, make Plexus their business, fine. They're getting the best price of the products. My goal is, as long as they're getting healthy, and they're taking their products consistently, and I'm, educating them, then that's all I really care about. If they want to make Plexus their business, please do. But if you don't, that's okay too.
Awesome.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Adrienne. And we can have more questions at the end of the call. But Steph, if you want to take it from here, my friend.
Hey guys, thanks so much for joining. I was just looking at the time, and so just to give you a heads up, we are mindful of everybody's time tonight. We know we said between 8:30 and 9. Realistically, it'll probably go to about 9:10. Okay, so hang in there. I have a few things. First of all, so I wanted to speak on what I'm doing and what changes I've made this year that has really impacted my business for the better on the customer side. Not only on gaining new customers, but also on retention. For me, it has been huge as well, because for me, what good does it do to gain a new customer if they are only a customer for a month, So that's been a huge thing for me too. A couple of things that have been really instrumental for me with my growth has been Nichols' leadership. Thank you so much. That's definitely been a huge, huge thing. And the team environment that we have, being able to jump on our team page if I have a question about a product, or, hey, can somebody go like on my status, or, whatever the case has been, that's been huge. Convention was a huge thing. That was my first convention. I've been with Plexus for several years, but that was the first convention that I made it to. So for any of you guys who have not been, like, they're not blowing smoke at you when they tell you to get to convention. Like, just get there, figure out a way, because it really does make a difference. And I'm realizing that now almost every day when I wake up, the first thing I hear in my mind is Les Brown saying, "You got to be hungry." So for those of you who don't know him, he's amazing. Follow him on Facebook or whatever. Truly transformational. That's what I hear every single day, is Les saying that in the back of my head, because it's so true. I thought I was hungry before, but when I got real with myself a few months ago and looked at what I was doing, I realized that I was staying busy with my Plexus business, but it wasn't necessarily income producing activities. You know, when I really looked at what I was doing, my actions weren't going to get me to what my goals are. And I just had to get real with myself. So a couple things. I'm going to give you 10 things, and I'm going to try to make it quick in no particular order, things that I have done that has changed my business, specifically since April of this year. So it started in January when I connected with Nicole and made some changes, started making some baby steps on changes. But in April is when it really kicked off, and it's just been building momentum since. So one of the things, in no particular order, is pushing through your fear. My fear of rejection, my fear of being judged by others, my own insecurities, etc. So pushing through my fear has been huge. So some examples of that have been, I've been bolder with my post on Facebook. You know, I've been bolder in saying, you know, that, you know, we're friends, you know, trust me. Of course, I didn't call anybody out by name or anything like that, but I made very sincere and genuine posts at some point saying, you know, if next time you're in Walgreens or Walmart's aisle buying your multivitamin. And I picked that because I feel like a lot of people are still kind of leery or uneducated on supplements in general, but a huge amount of the population takes a multivitamin. They feel okay with that. So I used that as my example and said, you know, next time you're in Walmart's aisle or Walgreens aisle buying your multivitamin, just please remember, let it cross your mind that I also sell a multivitamin, and it's an amazing multivitamin, and it has a 60-day money-back guarantee. It is either going to be the same price as what you're paying now, maybe a few dollars more, but it's definitely going to be way better quality, and I guarantee that. So I was very sincere and kind of more direct in an indirect way, I guess you would say. Another example was not shying away from conversation about Plexus or about my business. So I don't know about you guys, but, you know, if I'm at a family dinner or out with friends, like tonight, you know, some of you might have seen on my Facebook, I was at a restaurant eating dinner with a couple girlfriends before I rushed home for the call. You know, in the past, it was kind of like the elephant in the room. Nobody wanted to ask me about Plexus, and I wasn't going to bring it up, you know. So even though I needed to leave dinner before, you know, we were all sitting and talking, and dinner was done, but they were going to sit and have some drinks and continue to talk, I needed to leave so I could come home and get on the Zoom call. Well, in the past, I would have just said, oh, I got something to do, and I would have left, because it would have been like the elephant in the room. I didn't want to bring up Plexus. Well, now I don't do that. That's one of the changes is I'm not embarrassed. I'm proud of what I do. You know, I'm proud to represent Plexus and these products and how it's changed my life and it's changing others' lives. And I got thinking about that, you know, when I was working other corporate jobs, you know, and things like that, I was never embarrassed if I was at a happy hour or doing something to say, oh, I've got to work late, or I've got to leave early to do this or whatever with work. So why is it different with Plexus? You know, why do we automatically feel like we've got to be quiet because nobody wants to hear about a network marketing company? You know, even if you're not trying to pitch it or talk to them, it's got that stigma associated with it. So that's another thing that I've done, is just to push through that. And then also more transparency when I share online. So some of you guys might have seen that video a week or so ago that I did. I went Facebook Live and did a video on gastric bypass, the band and the sleeve. I've not had any of those procedures, but that's something that's really been on my heart lately, because I know 5 or 6 people personally that are preparing for those procedures, and it's really been bothering me because I know how hopeless they have felt, and they feel like that's their only option, and they've not even tried Plexus or anything like that. So I was very transparent and very vulnerable by making that video. And it received huge. The things that have come out of that video, I'm still hearing from people. It generated not only new customers, but it also generated, I think, a lot of trust for people, a lot of respect, things that are hard to come by when you're with a network marketing company. Sometimes people don't trust you, even though you're friends or family with them, or they don't respect you because they think that, it's just a joke or whatever. So I would say, be more transparent and be willing to be vulnerable. So number 2, another thing I've done different is I'm following up way more with potentials and my current customers too. So I used to follow up, when they would first get their order, I'd touch base with them, make sure they know, how and when to take their products. And then honestly, I would just kind of disappear for a month. And I would check back in with them. I'd tell them to give me a call or let me know if they have questions. And then otherwise, I wouldn't reach back out to them for a month or so and talk to them about the product, see how they're doing. Well, I don't know about you guys, but for me, by that time, most of them had quit taking the products. They only hung in there for 2 or 3 weeks anyway, and they weren't even consistent. They took it maybe 4 or 5 days a week for 3 weeks and then decided, oh, it's not working, or, oh, it's too expensive, or, oh, whatever. So my retention wasn't good, none of those things. Even though I tried to set expectations for them before they bought anything, letting them know that it was not a magic pill or a quick fix. But my follow-up has definitely changed. So I make weekly follow-up calls with all of my customers, my current customers. Some of them, I don't have to, they don't need as much follow-up. I can text them instead of a phone call. I can text them weekly now that they've been on the products for a couple months and things like that. The other thing with follow-ups is I make phone appointments, and that has been really successful on the customer side and on my side. I get really good feedback out of that. And so what that looks like for me is I will text usually. I will text and reach out to somebody. So for example, I might say, text Adrienne tonight, as she's my example potential, and text her and say, hey, I know we chatted about Plexus a week or so ago. I have a few openings is what I'll say. I have some availability tomorrow night whenever I make my Plexus calls, and I'd like to touch base with you. Are you available tomorrow night? And I usually, after that question, I usually give them some choices of time. So I rarely leave it open-ended for them to say yes, just to answer with a yes or no. And I also don't want them to necessarily choose the time right away, because what if it doesn't work with my schedule or whatever? So I usually pick some times. Like if I know, okay, Monday night, tomorrow night, I'm going to work my Plexus business between 6:30 p.m. and 9 p.m. So I have those 2.5 hours. And if I don't have anybody else scheduled yet, so I might say, hey, Adrienne, are you available anytime tomorrow night between 6:30 and 9? If so, when would you have 20 minutes to chat with me, or whatever, however much time you think. If there's something specific you're going to talk to them about, whether you need 5 minutes or 15 or whatever. But I try to tell them about how long, so they know what to expect when they tell me. So then she can reply back and say, yeah, I'm available. Around 7 works best for me. And then she knows going into it, I've already told her that I need about 20 minutes of her time. And then that way she's also more likely, she's picked the time. Even though I gave her a time frame, she picked the time that's best for her schedule. So she's more likely not to forget, not to cancel on me, or anything like that. So that has worked really well for me, as far as, just getting people on the phone so that I can actually talk to them about the product. And third thing, I am usually posting twice a day on Facebook instead of once. I used to post once a day. I never wanted to be the person who was posting multiple times a day. I did not want to be one of those people. And here I am, and it's working. So, so once a day, with the way Facebook is and algorithms, and, we don't get to control who sees our posts or when they see them or anything like that. Facebook's controlling all of that for us. And so I've definitely noticed a difference by posting 2 times a day. I mean, occasionally life is busy and I only get to post once a day, or sometimes I post 3 times a day. Now, of course, there's so much that I want to post. I could really post 5 or 6 times a day. There's so much information I want to share, but I don't do that personally. I stick with 2 a day is what I try to stick with. And I pay attention, of course, when I'm posting things like that. And I notice, when it seems to get good traffic or not whenever I post on something. So posting twice a day versus once a day has worked for me. Number 4, I talked about this a few months ago. I had professional pictures taken. I paid $75. I actually ended up paying a little bit more than that because I had a longer photo session and took some new pictures from my parents too. But I hired a local photographer, $75, for her to do headshots for me. It was like a 30-minute session to do headshots for my new business cards because I ran out of my other business cards, and my new ones I wanted a face picture on with it. So this worked out really good. I didn't realize it would do this. But so anyway, I paid for her to do that with the purpose of using it on my business card. Well, then at one point, a few weeks after I got them back from her, I shared one of the images on Facebook. And it was an image that I had done holding the latest Success from Home magazine that Plexus was featured in, as well as our product catalog. And so I had a picture, a professional picture taken with those 2 magazines. And I posted that on my Facebook page. And I don't remember exactly, it was a long post. I don't remember exactly what I said, but basically just talking about, Plexus in general, our products, that I'm, proud to do this and I'm in this business, and kind of what Plexus was. And I got a ton of hits off of that, you guys. I did not realize, I wasn't prepared for how that would change things. People were private messaging me like crazy, like, oh my gosh, I just thought this was a hobby, or, oh, this is legit. I didn't know this was a real deal. Or, I mean, all kinds of comments like that. Or, oh, you must be doing really well if you have professional pictures. And I'm thinking, all right, you guys, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to be a diamond ambassador or whatever to do that. So that was a really small investment, but it got a lot of positive feedback, and it worked really well just to help build credibility too. I didn't realize it was going to do that, but it built credibility with people that, oh, okay, so what she's doing is legit. Maybe we should pay attention. Number 5, I now place all initial orders for my customers. And that's something Nicole had talked to me about a while back. And I was like, oh, I can't imagine ever placing an order for somebody. Like, I always referred them to my website. So I ended up doing that, and I still do that. And that's working really well. Instead of referring them to my website, and, they know about my website and all that stuff, but instead of having them place their initial order, I take all of their information. And then when we get off the phone, I immediately place their order for them. And I explain to them that they'll get a confirmation email and things like that. And then by doing this, I've noticed 3 things. First of all, because I do it all the time, I know how the website is set up and exactly what to click on, what it needs, what's not going to work, what is going to work. So there's not that frustration there for customers, because customers find it hard to navigate sometimes, or they get confused or whatever. And it's super quick for me since I do it. It's just in and out. The other thing it does is, it makes it super easy for them. Like, some people, they work on a computer all day, or they do whatever. They don't want to log back in at night and set up a username and set up a password and do all this other stuff. So it makes it totally easy for them. The other thing is, I make sure that they don't change their mind. Because if I get all their information and tell them I'm placing their order for them when we get off the phone, it's done. So it's not a chance of me getting off the phone and then their son or daughter coming in the room and wanting a snack to be made, and the husband can't find the car keys or whatever, like life happens. And then next thing you know, they're distracted and they never did place that Plexus order because they're just trying to manage life. And then when I talk to them a few days later and say, oh, what happened? Why didn't you place your Plexus order? There's always some reason why they didn't, or why they can't right now, or whatever. So it also is really good for that. It just makes sure that it does happen by me doing it for them. And the fact that it's done correctly, that there's not a mistake on what they ordered or whatever. I don't know if you guys have had that, but I've had a few customers where they ordered the wrong thing or whatever the case may be. So number 6, I'm not chasing anyone and everyone as a customer or an ambassador anymore. So in the last few months, I've actually turned away a few people as an ambassador and as a potential customer, just because after talking to them, I have some qualifying questions that I ask them to kind of gauge what their goal is, why they would be using Plexus, what their health goals are, what their expectation is, do they expect major results in 3 weeks, or, are they committed to drinking their water, as much water as I tell them to drink every day, and to truly giving this thing several months to work minimum, to start seeing some results. So that's been a big difference, is it freed up some time for me too, for some of the customers I had in the past who had all these huge expectations of the products that were unrealistic. And then they took it for 12 days or for 18 days or something. And then, they were constantly negative, or they were whatever. You guys know, you've had these customers too. So it freed up a lot of time for me too, by kind of screening, I guess, for lack of a better word. And a few of those people now are coming back that I had said no to just a couple months ago. And now they're coming back to me and saying, okay, I really do want to get serious. What do I need to do for you to help me? And I'm just very honest with them. And I say, when I tell you you have to drink X amount of water a day, that's what you need to be working towards. Or when I tell you that you've got to be consistent, and you've got to be willing to commit to taking these every day. I mean, when they tell me, yeah, I'll probably take it 3 or 4 days, which somebody did tell me that, I'll probably take it 3 or 4 days. And I can just tell them, well, it won't work. I need you to take it every day. So just let me know when you think you can commit to that, because that's what we need. That's what you're going to have to do. Number 7, I'm excited for them and for Plexus to better their life. So, I watch my tone. I'm genuine. I mean, I think I can't say that enough. Be genuine. Take all of these as suggestions, but definitely be genuine and don't be fake, because people will see right through that. And, you don't want that, obviously. So I'm excited. So like after I place their order for them online, even though I know they get an email from corporate, acknowledging their customer number and their order and their receipt, I then immediately text them and to let them know, okay, your order's been entered, reminding them, hey, it takes about 5 days or so at the most for you to get it usually. And then the last thing I say usually is, I am so excited for you. And I end that with exclamation points. Because I am excited for them. And that has been, I've gotten really great feedback off of that, for people to turn around and say, yeah, I'm excited now too. Maybe they weren't excited initially, but they're feeding off of me, because I'm confident that we have products that will help them if they allow it to help them. Number 8, image. What makes us different than our competitors? So a quick example of that is, one of my cousins has started selling, if I'm saying it well, the Prove It, the ketones or whatever. She started selling that within the last 2 months. And I tell you, you guys, I know I'm a little biased, but when I look at my post compared to her post, I mean, it blows it out of the water. I mean, if I were, any of our family members, and in my newsfeed popped up my Plexus post and one of her posts about ketones, I wouldn't even consider hers. I mean, it's like comparing, I don't even know what to tell you to compare it to, because there's no testimonies. How many of you guys in your newsfeed have people who sell Prove It or True Vision or It Works or any of those other things? I'm not knocking companies, because I don't believe in that. And I tell my customers that. Sometimes my customers will point blank ask me, hey, what do you think about It Works? Or what do you think about that? Or whatever. And I don't like to talk negatively about any of that. I think that reflects poorly on us if you start to do that. However, like I said, I do think it's important to look at it and to see what kind of image are you putting off. Are you putting off the image that you're knowledgeable, about this because of the type of testimonies or the type of post that you share about Plexus? We're talking about microbiome. We're talking about gut health, inflammation. That, you guys, that's big stuff. Like, we're not just saying, hey, buy this product and get 20% off by midnight, which is what a lot of other companies are out there doing. It's just those kind of posts. I mean, we're making life-changing posts and sharing life-changing information. So keep that in mind. Number 9, I pray. So I don't know what y'all's beliefs or non-beliefs are. And so I'm not here to tell you what you should or should not believe. But I was asked to share what is working for me, and this is one of the things that I've incorporated into my changes, is I have a higher power, and I call that higher power God, but I pray, and I basically keep it short and simple every day, that God sends me the people who need my products and who are ready for my products. So it's a two-part prayer: who needs them and who is ready. And that's made a huge difference. It's actually taken a lot of weight off of my shoulders, because I felt so much, I guess maybe pressure, for lack of a better word, before, because I knew that I had life-changing products, but I felt like, well, I've got to convince them. And I don't mean convince them in a conniving way. I mean convince them in like, well, everybody needs this and I believe it. So I've got to find a way to say that. And now I don't feel that way at all. I just pray about it, I turn it over, and I move on. Who needs my products and who's ready for them? Because most people need our products, but there's a huge amount of people that are not ready to make any changes in their situation, whether it's losing weight, whether it's getting their blood pressure under control or whatever. There's plenty of people out there who just aren't ready to make any changes. So the last thing is number 10, belief. That was our motto or whatever at convention, was to believe. And I think that's so true, you guys. On product and price, we truly do have amazing products. And the price points are spot on. It's not, when you look at it, I'm not saying that it's affordable for everybody's budget. That's on a case-by-case basis. And it's a matter of perspective, of course, for people. But if you look at it, if, for example, I was taking 5-HTP as a standalone supplement through my holistic doctor, I was spending $53 a month just for 5-HTP, which I thought was expensive, but I did it because my doctor recommended that I use that for that time period. So I would say if you are questioning or still trying to convince yourself to believe that our products are worth the price, if you're still having issues about getting beyond pricing or talking to customers about price, or if somebody asks you, hey, how much is that bag of Slim? And you're still kind of like wanting to hunker down or shy away from saying $82.95 a month as a preferred customer, well, then I suggest do whatever you need to do to price some of these things, and then you'll realize we have amazing prices. So for example, like on our Mega X, it has the 369 plus 5 and 7 in it. Do you know I tried to go price just those Omegas separately at 2 different supplement superstores and GNCs? They don't even sell Omega 5 and 7. Then they tried to tell me why nobody even needed to take it, which was fun because, of course, we need those things. So I didn't go into all that with that guy, with that sales rep. And then some of the other things you look at are $35, $45 an ingredient. And, there's 4 ingredients or whatever in some of our, for example, some of our supplements. Okay, so if you bought each of those ingredients that's in our one supplement, it may cost you $120 at a local supplement store. And we're charging $33.95 or whatever. So if you still have issues about pricing, do some of that stuff, you guys. Ever since I did some of that on my own, I don't have any issue at all talking about price, because now I saw firsthand. Somebody from Plexus Corporate is not telling me, oh, it's a good deal. I saw firsthand and did my own homework and know that we have amazing products at amazing prices. And also just remember that you're worth it. So believe in yourself, believe in the products, believe in the prices, believe in the opportunity, believe what it can do for everybody's life. I mean, just believe. And if you can't believe, because, some days are like that, where we're running low on belief ourselves, whether it's something in our personal life or something professionally or whatever, if you can't believe, then lean on one of us that's on your team, and because we can believe for you, right? Adrienne, you spoke to that a little bit too with the products and everything else, to just, if somebody else can't be pumped up about it, you're still pumped up so they can live off of your excitement. And I think it's the same thing with customers, that if they're feeling down or feeling defeated, I mean, that's another thing. I keep a couple of little things, nothing major, but a couple of little kind of like memes or something in my gallery on my phone. And so if I follow up with a customer and I find out they're just feeling totally defeated because, their job is kicking them or they're having problems with their kids or whatever the case may be, then I try to send them a little meme afterwards, just, kind of like a chin up. It's going to be better. I'm not there to be their counselor or anything like that. I'm not suggesting that you have to do that. But, again, just be genuine and remind people, like, it's good. It's going to be good. And that people look forward to that and they appreciate that. So that's all I have.
Now, Steph, that's awesome. I know all of it. I can see everybody's head like taking notes. I'm like doing it into my phone. I think that's huge. I used to think that, you know, that it was taking a lot of time away when I was doing those customer orders. But like you said, I mean, there are so many times where we all run into the issue of, they said they were going to order, and then you're waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting, and then it's another week, and then it's awkward, and then because you want to reach out and you want to help them, but then it's, you know, so taking their information, it is an extra step, but it's awesome. It's worth it, and it also helps with a lot of the, unfortunately, the back office issues we've been having. It helps with that you happen to know their user ID and their password, and you can, you know, take that extra step and help them out if they are receiving an error or whatever have you. That is definitely an extra step if you have the time to do it. The customer service, I think, that you can put into those customers, and those customers will turn into your best ambassadors. Those that they have the belief, they have the trust, and when they're ready to upgrade for the cheapest pricing, they will become your most loyal ambassadors. So that's definitely a good tip. These were amazing, but I don't want to hog up the phone, so I'll let anybody else have any questions.
Thanks.
Stephanie, I have a question for you. What is your most, what products do you sell the most of?
Okay, so that's a good question, Adrienne. When I first started, I was all about the pink drink for everybody. And I still think that's an amazing product for everybody, but that's really not my number one seller. My number one seller right now is the ProBio 5 and the BioCleanse combination. And so I would say, initially, when I first started with Plexus, almost all of my customers were driven for weight loss, inches lost, and occasionally they'd want to address some health issues. But for the most part, it was all weight driven. Even though I wasn't focusing on that as my business, that's what everybody was focusing on. Now, what I'm noticing is my customer trend is, I think, and a lot of this has to do with what people are seeing on, morning talk shows, on, mainstream TV and things like that. They're hearing about gut health. They're hearing about microbiome. They're hearing the word probiotics. I remember when I started a few years ago, people didn't know what a probiotic was. I mean, I really think people thought like I was making stuff up, or that, it was this far-fetched idea, like a probiotic. Oh, da, da. Well, now it's in Reader's Digest. It's in People Magazine. I mean, these buzzwords are everywhere now. And so I think that's why my customer base has totally shifted. And I definitely, I know that it works for a lot of people to go in and lead with the triplex all the time, but I don't do that. With the questions that I ask each person before I sell to them is based on what they tell me, then I make a product recommendation. And that's actually the verbiage that I use to people is I'll say, I'm going to ask you some questions. I ask everybody these questions that are, going to be potential Plexus customers. And based on what your answers are, I'm going to make a product recommendation. And the reason I do that is to make sure you get optimal results. So that's how I word it, and that's what's working really well for me. And people, I guess for me, some of the feedback I've gotten is people feel like I'm not selling them. Like I don't have this, she wants to sell me this triplex because it's $129, right? Because unfortunately, even though they may be my friend or my family member, people still think that, like, she's just trying to sell me that because it's $129 versus this $56 for a probiotic and a BioCleanse. So that's what I'm doing. So I have customers who, I have plenty of customers who are taking triplex and additional products, but I also have customers who are just on probiotics and BioCleanse. Yesterday I signed, so I have 4 new preferred customers so far for August. Yesterday was number 4. It was almost a $140 order. It wasn't triplex. So yesterday's customer, for example, I sold her 2 bottles of Ease capsules, Vital Biome, and BioCleanse. So those are the 3 products she's going to start on. I sold her 2 bottles of Ease capsules instead of just 1 because I know I'm going to have her take 4 of those Ease capsules a day right away because I know enough about her health conditions that I think that she really needs that. She has some similar stuff going on that I had going on. So, that's just an example.
Awesome. Thanks.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else have any questions for Steph or Adrienne? Thank you guys so much. I mean, this is just gigantic wealth of information. And I think it's great from two perspectives. Like for you, Steph, where you've been here for quite some time, and Adrienne, you have been, but you haven't been sharing. So it's really, I think it's a great way, and everybody can take bits and pieces of everything that you guys shared tonight. So thank you.
Thanks for having us. Sorry it went a little longer.
Oh my gosh, no. Anybody have anything else before we let it go? No? Thank you guys so much. This was amazing. I'm going to post it on the team page in just a minute.
Thanks.
Bye, guys. You're amazing.
Bye.